Hey there, and welcome to the Big Apple School podcast. My name is Sam.
My name's Gary.
And today we're asking what's the crack about
the US and the UK.
So we're going to talk about where each of us are from. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We're going to ask about our exposure to the different types of English. Talk a little bit about the differences, different words. We're going to think about the relationship between the two countries and maybe how it's changed pre-9/11, that unfortunate time, and what it might look like in the future, in our opinion. So, let's start, Gary. So, tell me, you're not from Russia, right?
That is correct.
Where are you from?
I am from the United States.
Oh, it's a great topic.
How
for
intriguing!
You,
yes, practically no one is from there. Yes, I'm from the United States. Yes, the great state of Ohio, and the city of Cleveland.
As a complete novice, I've never set foot on the U.S. soil.
Okay.
What is Ohio famous for?
Well, as such, nothing specific. It's a kind of a Midwestern state,
right.
Meaning that it's between Chicago and New York.
Okay.
It's kind of flat land with its kind of, there's hills down at the south of the state. It's on the Great Lakes. There's large lakes, 5 large lakes in the north of the country, which border Canada. And so I am a Midwesterner. We call that Midwest, even though it's not very far west.
You make it sound like a chore, like it's a terrible thing.
No, it's a wonderful thing. I wouldn't want to be from anywhere else. No, it's a good place to be from.
Yeah.
We're considered to have we're very normal values. We're polite, decent, considerate kind of people.
Okay.
Right.
My kind of people.
Absolutely, Sam.
So you're
your kind of people.
You're neither, what would we say? Chicago's kind of, I don't know, how would you, Chicago's maybe a wee bit
Chicago's a big city. Yeah, Chicago's,
New York is, you have to be tough, but you're in between, relaxed. Nothing huge is happening, but you're getting on with it. Is there a lot of farming in Ohio?
There is farming in Ohio, yes. There's corn, it's not specifically an agricultural state. It's not like Iowa, which sounds a little bit like Ohio. But there is agriculture. It's a large state. And so there's kind of everything. There's manufacturing. And so
it's important.
Yeah. But in my accent, because I have an accent, it's considered pretty pure. The Midwest, it's not Eastern, it's not Southern. So anyway,
okay, and
how about you? Where are you from?
So I class myself historically, I could say, as British, but for historical reasons. I'm from the UK, specifically the region of Northern Ireland, which is part of the UK, but not part of Great Britain. The language, the flavor of English I speak is British, but then you could also say it's Irish. Some people call it technically Hiberno English, but that Hiberno basically means Ireland. Okay. But it's because of a certain slang and accent we have. Okay. But it is it's part of the UK, so it is British English that I class it to be, whether or not everyone would agree with that. So anyway, so Northern Ireland is separated geographically from the rest of Great Britain, and so it's not Great Britain but the UK. Okay. Let me ask, what exposure have you had to English from the UK?
Well, mainly, I suppose, through having to teach using British textbooks, right? Yeah, teach English using British textbooks, and some exposure through listening to BBC, and it's not really British English, but it's I guess it's British English. The Bible that I use in my church in English is the historic King James Bible, which is of course. It was 1611, so
And it's called King James Version because King James, from the King of England at the time, commissioned it or permitted it. Which is, I also have read it.
I'm glad he did that.
Yeah.
So you guys did a good thing there.
It was a very important thing for me too, because I grew up with that version. And actually, it's a lot, for me anyway, I think you'll agree, it's a lot like Shakespeare.
It's beautiful. It's interesting. One of the things about the King James Bible is that if you read the dedication to it, it said, intended to be read in churches. So it's a Bible that the translation was designed for reading aloud.
Right.
And so the language is beautiful.
It flows,
And that's why the King James Bible is the most quoted book in the English language, more than Shakespeare even.
And I've been told that it actually has a kind of poetic nature to it.
It does. I love it.
And it's easy to memorize as well.
It is, yeah. It's, if something is beautiful to the ear, it's going to be easier to memorize than something that sounds like a suitcase falling downstairs.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, I would say your exposure to British English is limited.
I would say that, yes.
Wow. But on the other hand, for me, I don't remember when I first heard American English. I mean, I grew up with it on the TV. Unfortunately, or unfortunately,
I'll say unfortunately.
I was a little boy who loved the TV, and I still like TV and films and TV shows too. And maybe too much, but I enjoy it. It's a way to relax for me. But I mean, as you'll probably be aware, as I know you'll be aware, much of TV is American. Much of the films are American. And so I am
aware of that.
Huge exposure actually to American English. Never been to America, but since I was a boy, like they used to, I think my brother made fun of me because I said Z instead of Z. I said zebra instead of zebra. In the English version, British version, it's zebra. And so he made fun of me, but I learned the alphabet better from Sesame Street than I did in school. Although I had great teachers in school. A lot of from the media. I've had a lot of exposure to American English. So let me ask you then, what's your perception of British English? What do you think of it?
Well, I would think that most Americans admire British English, especially if it's, sort of the Oxbridge variety, the...
Oxford.
Yeah, Oxford, Cambridge, Oxbridge.
Oh, right, Oxbridge, okay.
Yeah. We admire that, right? That seems, to us, we feel a little bit, inferior when we face that.
Okay. And the Queen's English,
Yes, the very proper and the lovely accent and all of these things, right, which we don't have.
Right.
So we respect it, but I would have to say that in practice, I would rather speak American English, just because it's the action, so to speak,
it's real.
Is in American English. Meaning that it's because of the influence of media and everything else. It's very dynamic, and the language is always changing, and of course British English as well, I'm sure. But anyway, so we respect it.
Well, language is a fluid thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's very much. And if I can diverge a little bit, there are some new words in the recent 5-10 years, and they're still getting new words, like Skyping is now a verb, things like that.
Skype somebody,
and texting and all of these, well, not so new things maybe, but all of these things have become words that we use every day, which when I was younger, a little bit younger, there was no such thing. Even in at my age, there are new words in my lifetime. So it's quite amazing.
Yeah. It's kind of like every week, actually, it seems like.
And I should also say that actually there's a sense where there's a kind of feeling that British English, what can I say? Queen's English how the Queen speaks. It's kind of that dream. If you can speak like that, your English is perfect. And there's a perception that that's the only correct English. But how I feel is that you shouldn't be ashamed of your accent. Although my accent isn't strong when I speak with you, but you shouldn't be ashamed. I don't think I need to be ashamed of it or embarrassed about it, because like you, even though I'm from Britain, or the UK, I should say, I have a very different accent from the Queen, for example.
Yeah.
But to me, it's important. It's part of your individuality, and it's not actually an issue. And there are lots and lots of flavors of British English, actually.
Yes, I can tell that from listening to. I listened to a podcast called In Our Time. It's a BBC, and there's often they have academics. They talk about different subjects and from different places. They'll be from the University of Aberdeen and all of these, and just the variety of accents is unbelievable. It seems broader than the variety in American accents.
It could well be, because I know even in our little region, Northern Ireland, there are a variety of accents. And you can travel 2 hours by car. You can travel across, up, down, left, right, Northern Ireland. And yet there are quite a few different accents just in that little place. So I think it is. And in England, I mean, a lot of people think there's just one, or might be guilty of assuming there's just one English accent, and it's not the case at all. If you speak to someone from England, they'll inform you that it's very much not the case. And even in London, there can be a wide variety of accents there too. Okay, so I want to test you a little bit.
All right.
Or talk about a little bit of the different words that we have. So can you describe diapers?
Well, diapers are the cloth, where they used to be cloth. Cloth are now paper wrappings. Paper.
Really?
Well, Pampers. No, that's that we would still call those diapers. And although you'd probably call them Pampers, right?
Yeah.
But that you put on a baby because they are not good about controlling themselves. They have a lot to learn. They're small.
That.
Yes, right. They're learning.
Right,
including how to handle themselves.
They could embarrass you in public if they don't wear diapers. If they don't have diapers.
Well, most definitely. Or in private, they'll embarrass you in private. Wherever they are, they'll embarrass you. But that's what we call those diapers.
Yeah, good. And in the UK, they're called nappies. What does that? Have you heard that word before?
I think I have actually heard that.
Yeah?
I mean, even in American use, I think.
Okay.
I think.
Maybe it's not exclusively UK.
I think it's carried over to US some way.
I'm just wondering what it is in Australian English.
Oh,
if anybody knows, you can write below in our podcast what it is in Australian English. I'm curious. I don't know. Sometimes they favor the British version and sometimes the American version.
Okay.
Chips. What are chips?
Well, normally we'd say potato chips, right? Chips are fried slices of potato, sold in bags, or you can make them at home. But potato. Actually, I think it's chips. They're a commercial product only, right?
Right.
Okay. But then so we call them chips.
Yeah, and they're very, very sliced thin pieces.
Yeah, they're very, very thin.
So for us, when we hear the word chips, we think about crisps. And it's a very, very thin sliced, piece of potato. And the word chips has a different meaning for us. So, we'll come back to that in a second. But crisps, chips, chipsy in Russian, if you can bear my bad accent, are very different from, crisps are very different from chips for us. But we still, of course, understand chipsy or chips.
Okay.
French fries?
French fries, they're thicker. It's also potatoes, but
more three-dimensional.
Yeah,
right?
They're very three-dimensional, and they're big chunks, thick and long, but thick, and that's what we call French fries.
And the thicker do you prefer a thick thick French fry.
Probably thinner.
Thinner ones.
Thinner person.
I think that just judging on McDonald's and Burger King, which I know maybe is a bad thing to judge on, but they're thinner than the traditional French fry in the UK, which in the UK, as you'll probably know, are called chips. Yeah. Right. So very confusing. We call them chips, and the other we call crisps. Okay. But interestingly, or I hope it's interesting, is I worked in McDonald's in my own town, a small town. Okay. And there are McDonald's everywhere in the UK, of course, and there's KFC and Burger King and Subway, and
we're spreading sunlight everywhere we go.
Great, yes. Yeah, heart disease.
If people have money there, we will go and sell them.
You will.
Yes, and we will make you fat.
You'll make us fat, absolutely. Yes. But we can do it on our own.
You will make us rich, and we will make you fat. That's the basic.
We do it on our own anyway, but McDonald's does help.
We do our part. Yeah.
But so in the McDonald's, local people work there, as I did when I was younger, and local people go in, and it's all British people or Irish maybe. Some Irish people too, and we'll go in and we'll automatically change to American English, and we'll speak with our accent, and we'll say, "Can I have a Big Mac? And can I have fries?
Oh, wow!
And can I have a Coke?" Wow. Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so, interesting. Yeah.
And if we go down the road to the chip shop, what we call a chip shop, which is a fast food restaurant, we will ask for chips. We won't talk about French fries.
Yeah. Okay.
Part of what part of what influences that is the culture, but also and the fact we know about American culture. But everything's written in the American words, up on the menu.
Sure. Yeah,
it's French fries. It's not.
Yeah,
chips.
There's a word for that in language, and I can't think of it right now. Where like black people. When black people are with black people, they're talking one way and they're doing like this, and then but when they go to business, there's sir, thank you very much for they're talking like white people, and there's a word for doing that process of shifting from one like persona to another, and so when you're in the American environment, the McDonald's, then it's American language.
It's strange because like literally there were no Americans there, no Americans in the restaurant, a local person owned it. All the managers were local people.
Right,
and we just had this kind of agreement to speak American. And interestingly, too, if I can... My first day in McDonald's was a shock because they said, okay, make this burger and then put it in the bin.
Put it in the bin, okay.
Right? And for me, and I've written it down here for you, a trash can, right? So imagine someone comes to you and says, right, you're working in this UK restaurant, you're making a burger, and when you finish, put it in the can. Put it in the trash can.
Yeah, we'd say put it in the trash, but
or put it in the trash. So that was what they were saying to me, effectively. When you say put it in the bin, I'm like, what? I just made a fresh burger. Why would I put it in the trash? For me, it was like a bin is a place for trash, a place for rubbish, what we call rubbish.
Right.
So it was like, wow.
Yeah.
Really?
They're just throwing...
I had to pause them. I said, stop right there. What are you talking about? What do I do? So as it turned out, and I learned that day, was a bin is a container in America. Am I right? Yeah?
Yes.
It's a container in American English. So it's not the same as we think.
Right. I'm glad you could have had a very money-losing day as the new recruit throws away burger after burger.
Busy lunchtime, and I'm just throwing them in
just as fast as he can.
So why aren't people eating these?
He wants to do a good job on his first day, and so every burger goes into the trash. Right. Just known as a failure in training.
I'm not sure there would be
lapse in training.
Good hygiene in that case.
Right.
Tell me what a biscuit is. I'm really curious because I'm not sure I know this.
Okay. Biscuit is, in American understanding, a biscuit is kind of it's a rather large, baked thing. Baked good.
Sweet,
baked good.
Savory?
It's not sweet, no. It's kind of doughy. And
soft.
And soft, yes, but crisp on the outside.
Okay.
So it's often it either goes with, it can be a breakfast food, or it can go with like chicken and biscuits is a thing in the South. It's a southern, it's a little bit regional.
It's not everywhere in America.
No,
right?
it's more as part of southern cooking and country food, right? Biscuits.
It sounds strange to me, to be honest. I don't know if we have it, but is it like a scone? Have you heard of the word scone or scone?
I have heard of it, scones, but I don't even know what they are, which is my ignorance.
So let me explain.
Oh, please. Please.
You're going to learn something.
I need to learn something.
And I've learned something already.
Okay.
And a scone is a very sweet...
Do you pronounce it scone?
I say scone. Some people say scone.
So it's S-C-O-N-E, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And I say scone, but other people will say scone. I'm not sure if it matters. I don't think it does.
All right.
They say it doesn't matter as long as you're understood. So it's a sweet bread. And it's not crunchy on the outside, but it can be a little bit, it's baked, so it can be a little bit browner on the outside. Nice and soft on the inside, but traditionally they're sweet, but not super sweet like chocolate or some cake or something. Often we cut them open. They're particular kind of hand-sized, I guess, scone. And often they include fruit or raisins or cherries.
In them,
baked in them.
Okay.
And even sometimes little bits of Mars bar or something like that.
Wow.
So if you're really
That's
extravagant.
Really, yes, right. That's extreme. Extreme scone.
They're great.
Eating,
they're great. Very luxurious. But you cut them in half, and put on some butter or margarine. And sometimes we put on strawberry jam or another type of jam.
Sure.
And even there are places specifically in the UK where they love to put on cream or clotted cream, it's called. And it's not, if you're going to do it wrong, do it right. It's very, I guess it's not healthy, but it's very delicious. And with a cup of tea, or in my case, coffee, it's great. It's just the perfect thing, actually. It's not too sweet usually. Okay. And unless
when do you eat this? Is it this?
For most people, it's a morning or lunchtime thing.
Is it like a dessert?
It's like an accompaniment to tea or coffee. It's really what it is. If you go to like a cafe or tea room, that's what you'll get. You'll often get a scone.
Yeah.
It's not like a compulsory thing, but it's really always there for you.
Yeah.
They're great, really. I recommend them. But I guess it's not what you mean when you say biscuit, though.
It's not quite the same. No, biscuits wouldn't be sweet.
Yeah. So it's a little.
They're a little bit greasy. They can be a little bit heavy. They're really good.
Yeah.
And the idea is you
with gravy?
Preferably, you can put gravy over it if you. That's the equivalent of the clotted cream as far as being terrible for your health. Yeah. And putting on weight and all those things that Americans do vigorously.
Not just Americans, I promise you.
Right, yes. If you haven't visited the American South, you don't know what...
Really? Okay.
Right. You don't know what weight problems really are. Right, yes.
Is it a lorry or is it a truck or am I... Okay.
Yes,
it's a person.
Yes, that's right. Yes. Certainly not.
I better not say too much. I don't want to offend anyone.
Right.
Especially not from the big guy from the South.
Correct. Right.
Cookies.
Cookies, yes. What are cookies?
Tell me, what are cookies?
Cookies are little baked things, that you pour them out onto a cookie sheet, and they're piccini. They're like cookies. They're just
crispy, right?
Yeah, crispy. Or they can be kind of soft or whatever, but they're different textures.
And is there anything inside them?
Not usually. There is. Sure, you can put like chocolate chips or nuts or all different kinds of. There's all different kinds of cookies.
Yeah. And you've got Oreos, and you've got all kinds of things.
Like commercial. Yeah.
Biscuits, they're called in the UK.
Those are called biscuits.
Those are called biscuits.
Okay. So our cookies are your
You seem
biscuits.
surprised.
I think I sort of knew that.
Okay. Yeah.
But only sort of knew that.
And interestingly, actually, we have both in the UK. And it's kind of a paradox.
Okay.
We have cookies and we have biscuits.
All right.
But usually, traditionally in the UK, the cookies are bigger. They're sold as like American style.
Okay.
So they're bigger.
All right.
They often have chocolate chips. Maybe probably not what you would automatically assume is a cookie. But when we think of cookie in the UK, we're thinking of the bigger, like Subway cookies.
Something, like
something
really
like
big.
that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So a bigger cookie traditionally.
Right. Okay.
For
like you would buy in a coffee shop. So like Starbucks
pretty much
would have. Yeah.
So
do you have Starbucks where you are?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Of course you do. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you have money and
we have money and we're willing to spend it.
And you're willing to spend it and you'll let us in.
Yeah.
And we'll give you coffee and we'll take your money. Okay, that's how that works. There's a pattern here.
And we've got car hood. Mm-hmm. It's called a bonnet in the UK.
That's the front.
Yeah, that's the front of the car. A car trunk. Am I right? Yeah.
Yes.
It's the boot.
Correct.
In the UK, we call it the boot. Not the boot that you wear, but it's the boot where you put your shopping.
Right.
A faucet.
Faucet
is a tap where you drink, where you get your water or wash or whatever. What you call a truck, we call a lorry. Although we know the word truck and might use it accidentally, if you don't mind.
That's
trash,
okay.
we don't use trash, but we know it. I mean, we've heard it, but we call it rubbish, or more formally, litter.
Litter, yeah.
Litter.
Okay.
But we in normal speech, we'll say rubbish.
Okay.
And then, of course, you've got the rubbish bin, which we talked about in McDonald's. I was a little bit confused.
Okay, yeah. So you actually say if you throw something, we say just put it in the trash can or put it in the wastebasket, right, in and off of paper. Right?
Yeah,
you put paper in a wastebasket. You put other stuff into it, maybe a trash can.
Okay.
But you bin it, right? You say bin it.
And bin can be a verb, in fact.
Yeah, to bin something.
But we usually just say put it in the bin.
Put it in the bin, okay.
For the bin.
All right.
That's for the bin.
All right.
One other about words. Do you use the word lift or elevator?
Elevator.
Elevator.
Yeah.
And I tend to use the word lift, especially because I'm living in Russia now, and because I know lift is kind of like the Russian equivalent. So I use the word lift. But I suppose in the past I would have used either, lift or elevator. It didn't matter. And it doesn't matter. So you're from the US. I'm from the UK.
Okay.
Can you tell me about the relationship between our two countries? How do you think it is?
Okay, well, I think historically, the relationship has been always very close. I think what is it called? Special relationship? I think it's called a special relationship. In America, we call it.
Okay.
Meaning that there's a kind of an unusual, different relationship historically, right? America was colonies of Britain and...
Unless you go too far back. Until the War of Independence, right?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, we're going all the way back there. Yeah.
We'll not go there today.
Yeah, right. We won't go there. No, right. Relations have not always been perfect. But anyway, since in the recent past, relations have always been very close.
Yeah.
I think probably bonds of language and culture and so forth. Yeah. And I think that still holds. Our president right now seems to want to change a lot of our relationships with everybody for some reason.
Right.
And but I think the relationship is still unusual for historical reasons.
Yeah, yeah. Unusually good, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, unusually strong.
Do you think the U.S. has other similar relationships? I mean, what about Australia or France or Canada?
Boy, France, it's been difficult. Maybe with Canada, there's, very close. That's a huge trading situation. Just kind of almost not one culture, but more of a shared culture.
The language is even closer.
Yeah, the language is closer. Yeah.
I mean, not that we don't speak the same language, but I think they have a lot of the same words, like diapers, I guess. It's the same.
I think so, yeah. And maybe that's where I heard nappies. That may even be from Canadians.
Maybe it is, yeah. And how has America changed since 9/11? 11 September 2001.
Yeah, well, I haven't been there very much.
You've been
actually,
here?
I've been here. I was there for 3 years in the 2000s, but in the Big Apple, by the way.
Yeah.
I was living in New York. And speaking of Big Apple School, I think that the changes after 9/11 have gotten a little bit less important, except that, of course, the concerns about terrorism, right, that remains, right, getting on an airplane is complicated, much more complicated than it was before. And I think there was a tremendous shock after 9/11, and it shook the country up very much, brought people together for a while, and now that is no longer the case.
Speaking from the UK perspective, it was well, when I first saw it, I didn't know what I was watching, to be honest. But when we really started to understand, when I was still quite young, when we still really started to understand what was happening, it was shocking, and it was a big thing. Yeah. And it's still,
it still is shocking.
In history, it will be.
No question.
It's
just that the immediate effects of it, like one of the things that happened after 9/11 was the country really came together, like everybody. Somebody just attacked us, what I mean? And that causes you to pull together. But the country's really kind of pulled apart right now. The politics are very divided. And so that effect particularly is not felt. In other words, it's hard to find what unites people. They're so
18 years on, it's not the same.
It's a lot of time has passed,
How has the relationship between the UK and US changed, or has it changed since 9/11?
I think, if anything, it is certainly in the aftermath, right? Directly after it, I think Britain was, the UK and the United States were very, very close partners. And we were in certain wars that maybe everyone regrets, to different degrees, right? But we were very close partners in those. And I don't know that anyone feels that was totally the right thing to be doing.
Maybe it was a bit hasty. Or
there
are some
unwise.
What can we say? Conspiracies about 9/11, about the war, but whether or not they're true.
That's different.
How do you envisage the future between our two countries? What do you think the future looks like, in your humble opinion?
In my humble opinion, well, I'll try to be as humble as I can. Just give me some time, right?
I'm looking at you as a fountain of knowledge.
Absolutely. I feel that deeply, and I'm trying to be humble. When you feel that, it's hard to be. No, but anyway, I'm joking. We're joking. Yes. I would assume that I would hope that the countries will remain very close. And I kind of regret some of the foolishness that seems to be happening right now. Where the relationship is kind of strange. That's because of the personalities involved.
But
it's unfortunate.
As for me, I think it's more of a political thing. I don't think it's felt by British people.
I would assume not. It's certain. It absolutely doesn't affect, I think, what any American thinks about the UK. But it's just the personality shows involved.
Okay, so that was the crack about the US and the UK. So we thought about the language, the differences in the vocabulary, the kind of exposure we've both had to it. So I've had a lot more because of media, which is widespread, the kind of, what's it called, globalization or Americanization in the world, and about the relationship we have between our two countries and what it might look like in the future. That was the crack about the US and the UK.